So I'm basically at the end of the presentation, and it's only 25 after 12, so we're doing well on time. I just want to go over these basic questions. These are questions that I hear frequently, okay? What if I conserve water? If you look at the left-hand side of that graph, we're talking about design flow, where it's saying I'm using 350 gallons per day. No way. I'm absolutely not using that. Very few people really are using that much water inside the home, okay? So you've got a low-flow toilet, you've got a low-flow shower head, or whatever it is. It's only 2 of us in the house. Whatever that scenario is, okay? Water conservation doesn't do anything to change the strength of the waste going through the home, okay? So there's still an amount of nitrogen and other nutrients that you're discharging into the soil in this finite system, okay, that no amount of dilution can remove. Now, if you're talking about, discharging to an ocean 100 years ago, well, okay, dilution is the solution to pollution, but that's not really the case here, because you're discharging this into a finite system, and the strength of the waste generated doesn't change regardless of the amount of water used to convey it through that system. What if I divert gray water? Okay, I'm not sending my clothes washing discharge, or the final rinse of my dishwasher, or the shower or bathtub. I'm not sending those out to the septic system, okay? I see a lot of people doing that, and that's a good water conservation technique. By the plumbing code, a gray water system should overflow back into the septic system, or if you're on a sewer line, back into the sewer line, because the use of gray water in the yard changes seasonally. In the summertime, you've got grass, you've got a garden, you've got stuff that needs to be watered, maybe like every day. So you're using all of that water. And then when it gets to be November, December, and the leaves fall off the trees and you're not watering anymore, where is that water going? And the ground freezes. So you've really got to put that gray water back into the system somehow. So diverting gray water doesn't change these requirements either. This was an interesting question I had from somebody who lived in the East Mountains. What if I live adjacent to open space? I live on a 3/4 acre lot, and I've got 4 bedrooms in my house, but there's 50 acres next door to me that's never going to be developed. Can I count that toward my acreage? I said, show me the proof that you own it, and the answer is yes. Okay, because we can't control what happens on the neighboring property. It may be open space today, and 50 years from now, who knows what it might turn into. So if you live adjacent to open space, unless you own that open space, you can't count it toward your lot size requirements. Those are our phone numbers and names and email addresses. And I'd like to open the floor up to questions.
Fine. I was wondering, when you
Can everybody hear her?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. You're going to have to navigate back to that mic.
I don't know if I can.
Or have him repeat the question.
Yeah, why don't you?
I could do
Okay, thank you. When you count your bedrooms, what space, how do you know if it's a bedroom or a den? Does it have to have a closet? Does it have to, what makes a bedroom?
I love this question, because I can hand the microphone to Chris. Her question is, what determines whether a room in the house is a bedroom?
The criteria that we use, can everybody hear me? Yeah. The criteria that we look at it, there's 2 or 3 different criteria that are critical in making that determination. Closet is really not one that we hold a lot of weight on. The main criteria that we look at is there privacy? So in other words, if there's an archway and it's open, there's no privacy into it. That's one of the main factors. The second main one is proximity to a full bath. So in other words, the proximity of the room to bathroom those two are the main criteria.
What is the penalty for non-compliance? Suppose I say I can't.
In my next presentation, I'm going to put that into frequently asked questions. Did everybody hear his question? Okay. The way code enforcement works in Bernalillo County within the Office of Environmental Health is that when we find someone's not in compliance with county code, we send them a notice in the mail. Hello, homeowner, we've noticed that you're not in compliance with this ordinance. Please contact us as soon as possible. Let's try to rectify this problem as soon as possible, okay? So let's say you call me back and you say, hey, I got your letter and I've got a problem and let's talk about it, okay? Our enforcement is not like getting pulled over for a speeding ticket, where the police officer hands you a ticket and you can decide whether to spend the $100 just to pay off the ticket and be done, or whether you want to go to court, okay? I don't have any kind of immediate penalty on you like that $100 speeding ticket. There's no fine that I can assess on that. So let's say that we're going down the road holding hands and you're working toward compliance and you've got some problems and we're working with you and we understand. And then at some point we feel like, you know what, you're not upholding your end of the bargain. So then we'll file a complaint in the Metro Court. And you'll receive notice of that, and you'll have to go down to the court and get an appointment set up with the judge. And then basically it's you and me and the county attorney standing in front of the judge explaining what the problem is. And we explain how we've given you all this time to do it. And then you explain why all of that time isn't enough, and whatever other issues you have. And a judge will basically say, and I've taken many situations like this to court over the years. Typically what a judge will do is offer another extension of a deadline. And we'll come back at the end of that deadline and a judge will sometimes say, okay, here's another deadline extension. I have seen the judge throw the book at somebody who was flagrantly violating the ordinance and making absolutely no attempt. And that person paid a fine and court costs, and it got complicated for him.
How much? More than fixing the septic system?
In one case, on the day before Thanksgiving break, I saw a judge send somebody to jail. So whether that costs you more than fixing the septic system, I don't know.
Yes. George, how are you in 2015, on January 1st, 2015, how is the county going to identify and enforce this rule?
We're going to start doing this before 2015, okay? Because not everybody's coming to the room like this and trying to learn about this. So probably within a year or two, we're going to basically look at lot size, okay, and we're going to identify lots 3/4 of an acre and smaller, and it's easy for us to do that. And then we look at our records and see what kind of septic system is on that property. And if it's not in compliance with the 2015 requirements based on our records, then we're going to do a mailing, okay? So, you know, we're trying to get the word out as far in advance of 2015 as we can, because that smooths out the workflow for everybody.
Also to elaborate on your question, one of the main mechanisms that we have in place now, and that will be one of the big tools to deal with that, is on the slide there was mention of an operator permit, and that is required when a property transfers. And through that property transfer process, that is going to be one of the big mechanisms in dealing with getting properties in compliance with that 2015 requirement. In addition to that, there's also, when part of our technical review process is anytime a homeowner submits a permit to the county, say they want to do an addition or, you know, some sort of building permit is required, there's also a review process through those, there's a review process that occurs, and that will trigger you know,